I've been told that I thought I was radical, but no, he said, you're not radical, you're logical. So, okay, I'll accept that. I don't really aspire to be radical. I just aspire to get news out that people aren't considering. My name is Maureen Morgan. I grew up in California and in a Presbyterian church. I soon realized what it was like to direct people to do something together, you know, not individual people, but people doing something, reading off the same page. I had to go to school because I didn't have enough education to really compete with the New York organization. And so I started my work down at Union Seminary School of Sacred Music. And I was the first graduate with children. Women, I mean, guys had kids, lots of them, but they had their wives to take care of the kids. But I was the one that did the caretaking. And so, needless to say, it was really tough, but I did it. And I had this experience of going through a reception line at graduation time, and the president of Union Seminary apparently knew that I had 5 children, and he had the temerity to say, "That's a lot of children." And implying that that was too many children. I was never a stereotypical housewife, ever, because number one, I got a job. And women did not have jobs in that period. They either had a job or they had kids, but they didn't do both. This was a cookie baking mom period. I did bake cookies. This is my family wall. I got divorced in this is again thing. I was ahead of the curve by getting divorced, and early on in this period, I decided to put our family pictures up on the wall, and just because I don't know, something made it important for me to do, and I realized how important it was for my kids to see the family as a continuum. But by the time I got to 1968, at that point I had taken a position in the Presbyterian Church in Pleasantville, right on Bedford Road. And again, it was pretty traditional stuff that we were involved in. But the world was really coming apart in some respects. The Vietnam War was on everybody's mind by that time. The women's movement was going full bore, and the civil rights movement was picking up a lot of steam. So everything was happening, but somehow it wasn't getting into the church. They were just going on just exactly as they were before. At that point, in the Presbyterian Church, 2 girls came up to me and asked me, "Mrs. Morgan, can we play Michael Row the Boat Ashore in church? Sing Michael Row the Boat Ashore." And in raising 5 children, I learned to say, "I'll think about it." Never say no. Say, "I'll think about it." And I did. My Union Seminary education came to throw. I said, "You don't sing that in church. You just don't do that." But as I was driving down the Sawmill Parkway to my house in Ardsley, I began to think about, why not? What are they trying to say? Maybe I'm missing something here. And then suddenly, once you ask questions like that, all your whole principles of why you do things start to come apart at the seams. And you reorganize your whole principles on how you plan music in the church.
Michael row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael row the boat ashore, hallelujah.
So I began to plan on a series of music events in the church called Music from the Young for Everyone. And the folk music at that time really had very deep philosophical thoughts within it. And once I got into that, I was just totally hooked.
To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn.
We had an electric guitar, we had an acoustic guitar. It was a very rainy Sunday. Normally you would have the church maybe a third full, maybe half at most. On this rainy Sunday, the church was packed, which was so unusual, I can't overstate that. There were tears. I have been asked several times on how did I wind up going from being a choir director to being an advocate, if you will, for something. And what I found out in advocacy is, guess what? You're trying to get everybody to sing on the same page. That's what it is. I've been a musician all my adult life, and I really thought that there was just more to do. And at that point, of course, 63 is when Rachel Carson's Silent Spring came out, and therefore it stirred up all kinds of thinking that it's new to most people. So I had to really focus in on a new part of life and a new way of thinking about the earth. And so I went into a one-year program with 2 courses at SUNY Purchase. It was an environmental management program, which was great, except it was incredibly hard because it's all science, and I'm an art, literature, music person, so it was really using the other half of your brain, and I knew it was pretty rusty. But it was very exciting, and it really started me on a whole new pattern. Being a transportation activist has its great frustrations, and I've certainly realized them in the last few years. And so I guess I'm kind of hoping that other people will pick up this issue, because I, in one person, cannot do it more than what I've already done. And that's one of the reasons why I've so enjoyed writing this Surviving the Future column for the Westchester Business Journal. But I just finished an article on, what's the date? Just yesterday. Finished 3 o'clock. Oh, you email it off. And this is the one that I'd done 2 weeks ago. So you have to start thinking about the next one as soon as you finish one. The East-West Rail Project is one designed to be the finishing link in the 5, here they are, 5 rail lines going north-south, 2 in Rockland, 3 in Westchester, is the Hudson River. Here's Manhattan. But if you want to go this way, you've got to go down here and then up here. It's quite impractical. And those 5 rail lines, if the connecting link would be built, would connect 4 states. I'm writing things that people, or let's say putting subjects together that people don't normally do. And that's what I really like to do, is to put topics that most times writers are dealing with one thing and then not understanding what the impact of another subject might have on that topic. Managing a midcast, my whole life has been pretty chaotic for future generations. That's what you're doing when you're working with transportation. And the courage to change, because my whole life has changed every 10 years, big change. Train rides, railroad, focusing on solutions. That's me. How about that?